is your relationship with time? Are you wired and tired, stressed and overwhelmed, busy and going nowhere? Or just want to scale your business? Welcome to Take Back Time with your host, Penny Zenker. Penny focuses on books, strategies, tools, and tips to help you work smarter and approach your time more strategically. As a result, you can have more energy, focus, and get more done in less time. Be more efficient and effective. Get ready to take back time.
Hello, and welcome to Take Back Time. My name is Penny Zenker, and I'm your host. And today's show is going to be exciting because not only do I have the amazing Sara Wegwitz with me that is a dear friend of mine, but she's also highly qualified in talking about stress and burnout. She is a registered nurse with a specialization in mental fitness, resiliency training, performance coaching. In the most simplistic way, if you think of her as a personal trainer of your mind, right? It's a great way to portray it. She specializes in helping individuals and groups to build confidence and transform the way they think through bite-sized training experiences. She has 20 years of experience in education in fields of critical care, health science, leadership, and coaching. And what distinguishes Sara's approach is that she has the ability to take complex biology and academic theory and map it across to street-level practices that are simple, easy, practical for both individuals and for teams. So, Sara, I am so excited to have you here.
Yeah, woo! Thanks for having me, Penny. Yeah, this is going to be a really fun and educational show, I know. So it's just great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and important, right? Because the World Health Organization, right, has declared stress a worldwide epidemic. So it is something that, if you ask a room of people, are you guys stressed? You're going to have everybody raising their hand. It just seems like more than ever, people are stressed out. You find that as well?
Oh, absolutely. And what we know is that stress is at the root cause of almost all illnesses. And that what I notice is that we all have this amazing ability to adapt to stress. It's kind of like death by 1,000 paper cuts. Well, first you get one or two paper cuts that kind of zingy and ouchy, but you keep moving forward and you just adapt. So then taking on more and more stress, most people don't realize the impact of our day-to-day lives and the stress that we have and how that impacts our minds, our emotions, and our physiology as well.
And the thing is, it's so unconscious, right? I mean, we just it just builds and builds, and it's a little contagious too, isn't it? It's like, like a sneeze, right? It's just like, it's everywhere.
Funny you bring that up too, because I'm sure you've probably witnessed where it's almost like people have stress off competitions.
Oh, totally. I'm so busy.
Yeah, I'm busy. Well, you think that's bad. You should see my life right now. Rah!
Right.
And so it continues to build those stories and, reinforcing maybe maladaptive ways that people are dealing with stress. So
yeah, totally. And, when people are stressed over time, chronically, what happens?
They get increased levels of that very harmful hormone cortisol, which can again wreak havoc. And when you're under those chronic levels of stress, and we're not handling it in a good way, we start having behaviors of avoidance, or we use substances to numb what's going on, whether that's alcohol or drugs or sex or shopping or what have you. Sometimes we try and be workaholics, right? We put my head down and I keep doing this. Someday, one day, things will change. Like this season in my life or this busy period will come to an end, but we just keep snowballing, and it can lead to some really harmful effects, anxieties, depressions, burnout, compassion fatigue as well. And again, having all those stressors on your body could be adaptive disease like heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, and left unchecked, stress, again, it's the root cause of many cancers. So it only makes sense that we need to be taking a more upstream preventative approach to kind of nip things in the bud, if you will, and get our feet turning back towards having a healthy relationship with stress, because it's not going away.
It's not.
It's something that is part of our human experience. So it's so important that people do as much as they can to help balance that and find healthier ways to handle the stress that happens in their lives.
Right. So we know like stress as it builds up and it builds up and it builds up because it's our response, then it turns into burnout. And then all of a sudden, where we once had energy and meaning in our life, it's gone. It's because it's become chronic. What I wanted to ask you was, how do we fight against, like, I remember when I first started my IT business, it was an instinct, and it's the wrong instinct that we have, which is to work harder, right? So I'm like, oh my God, I've got all these new clients that I have to manage. And I felt like my hands were in everything. So the only solution that I could think of that was instinctual was, well, I'll work harder. And I think so many people do that instead of, we say we want to work smarter, not harder, but our instinct is to work harder. How do we recognize that? How do we avoid that? How do we train ourselves to work smarter?
Well, you bring up a really good point in that. And I think what came up for me as you shared that is really taking control, taking back the steering wheel of your mind, if you will, and taking control of the stories that we attach, the meaning we attach to the everyday things that we go through, whether it's being at work or in other roles that we fulfill. And understand that whole notion of working harder, well, that's like a societal or a cultural thing. Like, in order to have this kind of success, you need to put your head down and work hard and work crazy hours. Well, yeah, depending on your work, there will be time investments. But if you're not taking the time to recharge or do something every day for 30 minutes just for yourself to keep that energy and connected to your motivation or why purpose that you're doing what you're doing, you're going to run into some real challenges. And you've probably all have worked or known people who you just know are burnt out. I mean, coming from the hospital, working as a nurse, there were more senior nurses that I was like, you needed to switch jobs or different units 12 years ago. And yet they've lost meaning, they're grouchy, they're totally negative. And again, that can have a huge impact on teams. And yet what I find people happen in that case is it's almost like those golden handcuffs. It's like, well, I just got to put my head down because I've got 8 more years till I get to retire. And it's like,
right. Teachers too. I've heard that in the teacher realm as well. It's true. A lot of people feel like, well, I just got to persevere through it, right? And work harder. Yeah. So let's talk about 2 different types of things. So when they're at the stage where they're already burnout, what is something that someone who's already there, what can they do? Because a lot of times what happens is they completely drop out, right? They might have depression or adrenaline fatigue or whatever, and then they can't work anymore. So what can they do if they recognize that they're in that chronic state, they're lethargic, they don't care anymore? What could they do?
Immediately in their control is to really start giving them the space and time to do self-care activities, like in the immediacy, being able to take those holidays. Because again, oftentimes when people are working hard, maybe they're collecting all of these vacation days, etc. It's like to take time to just go on that holiday to recharge and regenerate. And the other piece to that too is to reach out and get help. So if people have already recognized, or typically when people are in burnout, they've been adapting for so long, it's generally their loved ones who live with them that are like, hey, come on, like, you're not a joy to be around. And I want you to be able to get help. So for people to reach out to resources in the community, be it a psychologist or a registered counselor, to help sort of talk through those things. But I think it's an immediate change of environment in terms of stopping work and going for a holiday, even going away for a weekend or a day, getting the heck out of Dodge, I call it.
Yeah.
And it's very reinvigorating. So to kind of give that pattern interrupt in that space to shift your perspective and see things from a different viewpoint, and then to get support in identifying next steps and how to work through it with a professional. But again, this is where prevention is key, is to stop. Like, don't allow yourself to get down all the way downstream to that place where one's feeling really burnt out.
Yeah.
So it's harder and harder to get back to having vitality, energy, searching for that meaning, purpose, reconnecting with your why you do what you do.
Distractions are the enemy of productivity. Go to distractionquiz.com and find out your distraction profile. Are you a time zombie or a hamster? Take this free distraction quiz today to rate your ability to focus on what keeps you from being a wizard. Go to distractionquiz.com.
I was thinking like, what were some of the things in some really stressful times of my life? Like, what did I do that helped me to be more resilient? And immediately it's those self-care things. I mean, it sounds so obvious, but I purposely made sure that I got more sleep because I knew that I needed it. It was just intuitive. Like I was more tired, but I didn't stay up watching TV, or I really allowed myself to get that sleep. And I think also two other things that I did that I think were most important that anybody can do at any stage right now, no matter where they are in terms of stress or burnout, is I started to work in a class, right? I went to 3 times a week to like a workout class, and just having the camaraderie of a class, to have that accountability, but also to have other people around. I read recently somewhere that we as women need the tend and befriend, like we need to nurture, we need to, when we're in that mode, it helps us more quickly to get unstressed or less stressed, right? But that workout was so important to me, like keeping my body moving. It kind of clears your mind. It has a total cleansing effect. And then the other cleansing effect that I did, which I've been doing now for more than 10 years, is keeping a gratitude journal and just focusing, like you said, is getting back to why things matter, getting back to what has meaning, and just really even how small it might be. The leaves are falling and the colors are changing, and the fact that I can see and that I see these beautiful colors like some people can't even see. So things like that really empowered me. And so I think those are to build on the things that you're talking about. They're, concrete things that people can do today.
Absolutely. And I think you're talking about really important things where it's about shifting perspective. And like you said, it's simple and easy things. There's things that are easy to do and also easy not to do. And when people are in that total stress mode, they're in that react. I have to react. I have to respond. And you feel like you're a little ball in a pinball machine. Ding, 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 ding. Right? And so to take back control is to have gratitude and going to exercise class, because again, getting all those feel-good hormones going, and also having that social connection where you're around other like-minded human beings. So people to identify those things that bring them joy and to go back to them, whether it's a hobby, picking up a paintbrush and doing painting, or
totally
a dance class, which is something I've rediscovered for myself, which has been unbridled joy for an hour every week. It's like being able to find those things that light you up and replenish you in a new way, can yield energy, productivity, efficiency. So that whole notion of work harder, and I know we've talked about this before, it's a bit of a misnomer, because what the research shows is that when we can give ourselves a break to exercise, to do those things that fill us up, actually makes us come back and be more clear-headed, productive, able to take on the day. So,
yeah, it's one of those things that we know, but we have to really put things in place in our environment to do what we know, because we don't.
Too true, right? Yeah, it's that whole notion of we know what to do, and yet there's the disconnect to the doing. So how do we bridge that? And I think women in general too, and I know it's for men, we tend to put ourselves on the lower totem in our totem pole, putting our family, our partners, spouses, other family members ahead of ourselves. And so it's really important to take that time to look after you so you can be even more present for the people that you love and care about.
Absolutely. That is so important. The other thing that I do, and that I believe, is like it's an instinct, but this is a positive instinct, is where things are out of control in my life, then I look for the things that I can control. So I start to clean up, right? And clean things, because it makes me feel good because I can control that, right? Or people talk about making their bed in the morning, at least they can control coming back to bed that makes them feel good. It's like little things wherever you can put them in your environment to support you. Maybe it's a sticky note or, around in your environment, or a song that you play, at the end of the day, just to wind down. These little things can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. I know that, like you said, having those really good tunes in the car, you can just rock out. I don't think I know anybody, at least around here, that you can't help but sing along when Bohemian Rhapsody comes on the radio, because it's the ultimate car karaoke. And
totally,
music can be such a powerful state changer in that way as well.
totally can. It totally can. So we just have to keep those things top of mind. What else do you think is really important for people who are looking for prevention? They know that they live a hectic, stressful, or could be hectic and stressful in their life. What else is a last tip that you could give them to be their preventative?
If I may, two things that came to mind. They both start with a C, so easy to remember. Number one is compassion. Many of us would say that, yeah, I'd put my hand up if I were asked, are you a compassionate person? I'd be like, yeah, let me supersize that. However, I would ask people then is, when you're home alone with in the quiet with your thoughts, how compassionate is your internal dialogue or self-talk? And Dr. Kirsten Neff, a researcher from the University of Austin, I believe, who researches self-compassion, said we need three things. In order for us to create and maintain self-compassion, we have to be mindful with our emotions. So either repressing, suppressing our emotions, or over-identifying with them, being dramatic. Second of all is to understand the feeling of human inadequacy is something we all experience. So when you see other people running around with their busy badge and thinking they have it all together, it's like, well, no, at some point in their life, they've dealt with that. And it's to be kind in the way that you talk to yourself. So being extra compassionate and to give yourself permission to be or to just do, or, how you would talk to your best friend. And then the second thing I think can really help us is how we connect with one another. And I know we've talked about that before, about how often we go through our day-to-day lives and we're not present. We don't even pay attention or look people in the eye when we greet them in the morning. We buzz into work and we say, hey, so-and-so, how was your weekend? But we don't stop to hear what they have to say. We just walk past. So it's being able to connect with people on a deeper level. And it's just something you can do with an extra second by connecting with them and looking them in the eye when you greet them in the morning, to let them know that they're seen and appreciated and valued. So I think we're losing that in our day-to-day lives. And as human beings, we really need that connection. And it sounds so silly and it's so small. And yet holding eye contact for one extra second is some ways that we can build connection with the people that we live and we work with. And then by having that connection, those feel-good emotions of like having that oxytocin being released and just feeling good because we've been seen and we feel heard and appreciated. And we can model the way for others to do that as well.
That's so true. And I guess then we can be the stress reliever for others as well as for ourselves, right? Because what you're saying is I'm thinking back to like my own experiences of times when I've been stressed and I've had a lot going on. And if there was a time where somebody just gave me that little bit of appreciation that I'm valued, changed everything. Like it changed the meaning that I was giving my effort. And then all of a sudden it wasn't so heavy, right? The effort was appreciated. So it didn't feel as heavy or as hard. Like I'm reviewing in my head and that is so true. And I think everybody online can think about that when you deliver that message to somebody who's having a stressful time, that at the workplace, there's a lot of deadlines, that can go a really long way in just making somebody feel that they're valued in terms of reducing their stress and yours. So that's pretty huge.
Yeah, absolutely. That's being appreciated. Just a simple thank you can go a long way. And the cool part about that is it's not just a unilateral experience. When we value and genuinely appreciate people that we live and work with, we get a hit of the good hormones as well. So it's a win-win, and it just cultivates more of a compassionate and understanding workplace or your home life. Easy to do and also easy not to do. And yet we've talked about some really quick and easy things that listeners can immediately start applying in their lives and start shifting things.
Totally. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Penny.
Yeah. And, and I think we'll probably have a couple of other further talks around stress and emotional intelligence and things like that in the future, which we have all the time personally, but we can do that online and provide some tips for the listeners here. So thank you, Sara.
Oh, thank you. It's so great to see you and get connected this way. And thanks for having me on your show.
Awesome. And for those of you who are listening, thank you for being here, because you know how important it really is to be able to manage your stress, to manage your emotional intelligence, because with that, the topic of this show is take back time. It's a waste of our time when we're not managing, because stress and the energy of stress can suck with it a lot of the energy that we need to do things more efficiently and more effectively. So by taking a step back and working smarter, not harder, is really the end game. And so managing our stress and understanding these very simple things to do and not yet just understanding them, but actually doing them is an important part of you taking back time. So thank you so much for being here. My name is Penny Zanker and I'm your host. We'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you for listening. Today's topic is another opportunity for you to put the knowledge you learned into practice. Tune in again next week for more strategies that will help you have more energy and focus to get more done in less time, so you can continue to take back time.